right, Pratt is ready to rock and roll, so we're gonna flip it over. Let's see if this works. I think it's been working, so
Yes, sir.
no jinx, although I think I just did it right there. For everybody here at Trader TV Live, again, thank you so much for watching. Thank you for hitting that like. Let's throw it over to the big guy at the big desk. This time, it's Pratt.
Kill him, Pratt.
Ciao.
Welcome to the After Close Show. We're still trying to figure out how to call it or what to call it, but welcome to it. We're going to have a lot of fun here. The markets were crazy today, ladies and gentlemen. I ended up flat. Not going to complain about it. It was good. We had a lot of rides to the upside. We had a lot of rides to the downside too. We're going to cover some of those moves today. Some of those stocks are going to be, the EV sector. We also have the semiconductor sector, which has obviously been very hot for the last few weeks now. Cryptocurrencies back into play. Oil sector has also been hot. And then I have a couple names here or there that randomly came in today that moved around. So welcome. If you are in the chat, make sure you are hitting the like button. Make sure you're hitting the subscribe button and having fun by putting in some stock selections in there for anything that's moving around. Obviously, this is the After Hours show. So let's start off with looking at the After Hours scanners, which is currently not active, so let's turn them on. There we go. Looks like we got nothing really moving on too violently. ASET moving, but with light volume, only 76,000 shares being traded, but it is popping up at the moment. We'll come back to the scanner to see if something really popping off that catches our attention to talk about. But right now, I want to talk about, man, the hottest stock today. Most likely, any of your large cap sector stocks, your Tesla, your Nvidias, we're moving around quite a bit. Pre-market, markets were holding, kind of red, almost flat. They opened up to the positive side. NASDAQ ripping to the upside and actually turning green and holding green. And Tesla was positive too. But later on, this is the final story of the whole song, which is 6% to the downside, ending at $241. And looks like we might just contest that 240 low in the after hours. I would love for the 240 low to come into play tomorrow so we could trade it. But looks like we might just see that level breaking in the after hours. The low in the day today, 240.70. And right now we're hanging around 240.80. Let's go back on the Tesla stock to a longer time chart frame to see if there's any trades possible here. And right off the bat, I can already see a little bit gap over here, most likely coming in to fill the gap to the downside. Tesla possibly has a move down to $235.23 area. Let's just say if Tesla goes to 230, I'd be worried to see 230 coming into play. So let's just say, a possible drop down to these ranges over here, somewhere to 230 or so. This high coming into play tomorrow, especially if the markets continue being weak. I can see this whole level coming into play anytime soon. So that's a trade I'm looking for. Let's hope that 240 doesn't break in the after hours and actually in the pre-market tomorrow. That way, I'm able to trade it on our platform over here at Day Trade the World. But those of you at home, if you are interested in a possible trade to the downside that you can swing it into tomorrow or even the next few days coming forward, this looks like an amazing setup. This actually looks like the setup very much so that I outlined on AMD. AMD, a gap fill to the downside on the break of 116 area, pushing it down to these areas, and notice how those areas actually came into play, right? We were expecting anywhere from 110 to 108, 107. We're actually trading at 107.50 today, at 107.20 being the low of day on AMD. So that's the expectations. If you swung that trade to the downside, your risk was pretty tight. If the stock went back through 116, you take that loss and you move on from it. But if 116 doesn't break, you're able to ride it for multiple dollars to the downside. The risk to reward was immense. So congratulations for anyone who took part in that. I am now giving you another setup that looks very similar to me, which is around this 240 area. If we break 240, I think we see 235 actually intraday. So it might not even be that big of a swing for you. It could just end up being an intraday trade. But for those of you interested, I am looking forward for that position coming forward. I would love to stay in this sector, in the whole EV sector, and go to a stock that Brendan actually wrong macro, C3 screen, there we go. I would like to go to a stock that Brendo actually mentioned right before getting off over here at the close, which was XPeng. XPeng apparently moving around a little bit. We've seen the stock not too long ago pop up with the help of NIO, and XPeng had its own catalyst too, and Li Auto has its own catalyst too. So all three of these Chinese EV stocks have been, moving up to the north side and staying positive, especially on a day like today. Congratulations to them. I believe even BABA had a monstrous day today. What happened to my chart there? Even BABA had a monster day to the upside, but later on ending pretty much flat. But the open was insane for BABA. Congratulations for anyone who caught it. You guys hear the name Wayner on the floor a lot. He actually had this long on BABA. Congratulations on that long, Wayne. That was a monster BABA long today. But later on, still ending flat on the day. Looks like most of the moves in the Chinese sector were pretty much on Li Auto and XPeng, EXPV. I always get the ticker confused. I say XPeng, but I have to type XPEV, but I end up typing XPeng because I said XPeng. Happens, right? I can't be the only one that happens to chat. People in the chat talking about Palantir. Yeah, why not? Let's pull up Palantir. One of my favorite stocks out there, but it has been struggling ever since we hit that $17 marker. We haven't been able to get back above 17 for a while now on Palantir. If we go here on the long-term chart, on the daily chart, I'm actually expecting supports to come in around these areas. And if you see, we popped down to maybe 50 cents below that area. Not too much of a drop below that level that we have mapped out. Looking for supports to come back in around this 14 to 15 area, and then we'll see what happens later on for Palantir. There is also, a drop that is very much possible. The stock has taken off in a very quick time manner to the north side. That if we were to put indicators on here, such as I like to use EMA because EMAs take in more relevant data, more recent data, not relevant data compared to SMAs. So if we go to EMA. Where is it? Moving average exponential. Let's plop in 100 first, right? So if we go to 100, that's where it is. So according to that, we could drop down to $11, $10. Now let's add another one. Let's go to EMA, moving average exponential, and plop in a 51. These are the ones I usually use to trade on the intraday time frame. So 50, 100. They're both around these areas. I could see 12 very easily coming into play. So looking at these numbers, Palantir could have more downside. If we do get a break of this 1350 area, I don't see why we don't end up at 12. I don't see why we don't end up at 12. I love the short idea, especially as a day trade. If we do see the 1350 area breaking and no support showing up in front of 1350 up to $14, then shorting those areas for a possible swing down to $12 or so looks like an amazing setup. And then you can, if you're someone who likes to play longs and you're mainly a bullish trader, then you could either wait for 12 to go long, or you can wait for this $10 area to go long. Just wait for this $10 area. I could see 12 so easily coming into the stock. Wait for some of these levels over here to come back into play, and then you can dip buy longs over there. But if those levels don't come into play and we're still hanging around these levels and we see the stock going back through 14, then I would like that long too on Palantir. I'm going to quickly head over back to the EV sector we were just at because I want to talk about Lucid. Lucid had a partnership with Aston Martin. Brendo actually was having an interesting conversation with me not too long ago after, right before the close over here, about Aston Martin and Ferrari, about how there's a potential a trade that might be happening in the Formula One sector over there, back from Ferrari to Aston Martin. If that's the case, then what seat are they going to replace? Aston Martin can't kick out Alonso. That means they got to kick out Lance Stroll. Are they going to kick out Lance Stroll? That's daddy's kid. The dad owns the company. So pretty interesting topic over there. Coming back to the market though, Lucid partnering up with Aston Martin, I believe it gives them about 3% or so stake in Aston. Let's go check out it right there. 3.7% stake in Aston. This news article is the Trader TV Live watch list. If you're not signed up to it, you probably should, because it comes out with a banger info every single day. right in the morning. You get emails coming out right into your inbox, exactly with what stocks are moving around, what is happening with the economic calendar, and what stock you should probably keep your eyes on, because stock selection is very important in the stock market, right? So Lucid at the moment, we're coming out with that positive catalyst. I expected that they would, really take off to the north side, and we would have a monster short squeeze on this position. Even before I use terminology such as short squeeze or so on, let's actually go here and type in LCID so we can find out what the float is. The float is 67 mil and the short float is 21%. So it is very much squeezable. Now that we found that out, what are the levels that we want to trade it at? I don't know why they like the 620 level. Oh, that's why. Okay, I get now why they like the 620 level. If we go here, you can see that 620 level previously came in as a support over here too. Then we broke down to the new all-time low of 546, and that was my thesis. My thesis was we hold 546 on this positive catalyst, and we just squeeze all the way to the north side, most likely push the higher end of this range up to $7. Looks like that 620 barrier was an absolute wall in this stock. Now it looks like it was. We saw it happening. We saw it take place. And it pushed the stock right back to the downside, almost right back to all-time lows. So tomorrow, I'm looking for another attempt for a long on Lucid around these lows, and of 620, which has proven itself to be a level. We've seen Sean and Neil short this level today. If it comes into play tomorrow for a long breakout, that also looks good to me. And getting long in front of 550, in front of 540 also looks good to me. That is basically the EV sector that I'm looking at. I know a lot of you in the chat over there love watching Tesla. So let's quickly go to Tesla. Oh, we already talked about Tesla. Tesla is most likely to the downside move. A good gap fill incoming on Tesla for those of you interested on the swing trade. Let's go to the retail sector. The next sector that is not really that much in play, I would say, but this stock went a little crazy today, breaking out of multiple weak ranges and almost getting ready to close the gap over here to the north side. I mean, it's not that big of a major gap, but there is a little bit of a gap over here that could give a move from 310 to 312, 313. I'll take those chances. I'll take the risk to reward on that play. Take the even dollar breakout, risk 30, 40, 50 cents. It's a $300 stock, so maybe you have to risk, $1 even. So risk $1 to make a 2, risk $1 to make 3. That 3 is to 1, 2 is to 1. Reward setups. If they show up, I want to be part of it. So here comes Home Depot for a possible move to the upside. Today, the fact that we did close right back under this range kind of tells me that maybe doesn't have that extra oomph, that extra rocket fuel, that extra jet fuel in it that it requires to detach itself and go into the next stage of lunar landing here. But we're not seeing that happen right now in Home Depot, at least not today and not in the after hours. Maybe tomorrow with the positive catalyst that it had, we could possibly see the stock going straight back to 312 and maybe even 320 areas over here to the north side. There are 2 trade setups that are setting up for me. A possible short around 308 to 310, and then a breakout of 310 for a move up to 313, 314, 315. So those are the 2 trade setups that are coming in. We'll see if tomorrow there is some volume in there or not. Today's volume, it's okay, it wasn't the greatest. The average 10-day volume of 4.73 million. Today's 4.48. We'll take it. We'll see if a rise in volume can come in on this position, just like this over here at the bottom end of my screen. I'll take out the logo. Is there any way to get the logo out there? Just hit lower thirds. I just want it off. Maybe we need to make a button to just take it off. Turn it off? Yeah, just turn it off. Yeah, you don't have to do that right now, but we'll make that button later on. Thank you, Fabian. But yeah, right there, as you guys can see right here on the volume profile to the downside, the volume is increasing. Sorry, not volume profile, volume bars. The volume is increasing right now as we see this catalyst play out, but we just have to be patient. Can I put it back on now? Okay, sweet. Oh, I just have to switch? Okay, sweet. Thank you, Fabian. Yeah, you don't have to do it today, my friend. Get home safe. I will see you tomorrow. Good night. By the way, check your DMs because you haven't sent me something that you need to send me. Yes, thank you. Okay, now that the Home Depot is done, why don't we go to the next hot, spicy, muy caliente. I know Fabian likes the way I say that. Muy caliente sector coming in for yesterday. It wasn't muy caliente today, though. It was okay today. It's going to be the cryptocurrency sector, Bitcoin, pumping all the way up to that 31K, ladies and gentlemen. We enjoyed watching that, taking cryptocurrency positions along with it. Most of them went absolutely crazy. Riot, Mara, BTBT, you name it. Every single one of them went crazy. Coinbase then comes out with another catalyst of its own about a court case ruling, and that helped them to the north side a little bit more. Sadly, we could not keep on continuing that ascent past 31,300 on Bitcoin, but we are still above 30K. We are still above 30K, so that puts us in still good positions to look for maybe some trades over here. And the fact that Coinbase pushed to $65, $66 today, I mean, that's right at the top of these ranges. How many times have we seen Coinbase reject 65 in the past, reject 66 in the past? And we've also seen that happen right here around $72, $73. So there's some levels over here that Coinbase is always fun to trade in. Now tomorrow, let's see what happens once again at these levels. Look at today's high and compare it to this range's high, the recent range that it traded in before breaking out. That was $66.36. Today's high, $66.16, right? I know I like to big myself up and make myself look amazing when these lines always work out and so on, but it's not rocket science, ladies and gentlemen. You're just looking left and trading right. You're looking at previous history, and you're expecting previous history to repeat, but you also have setups for the repetition of previous history and the possible change from previous history going into the new thing over here. And to really time all of that, you're always looking at the time of sales and the level 2 to see if your thesis, your levels, your ideas are all confirming with the actual market sentiment or the stock sentiment at that moment. So you always want to take a look at what's going on the tape around your levels. Don't just trade your levels because you threw a line there. Look at your level. See if there's selling coming in around those levels. See if there's buying coming in around those levels. If there's iceberg orders, if they're not iceberg orders, if they're selling programs or not. I'm probably confusing a lot of you over there. We could dive deeper into this later on. But you want to confirm action around those levels to see if there's actually a trade there for yourself or not. All right. Renata saying, hey, Prad. Hey, Renata. How you doing? Michael Lloyd saying facts, what's going? It's still early. We just hit 402,000 subs. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Hit your subs. Hit the sub button if you haven't already. Coming away from the Bitcoin sector over here, I mean, we could show you a couple other stocks. Let's go to Mara, which is rejecting that $13 area. We've seen that 13 rejected multiple times. We actually drew some lines up for a possible breakout to the north side, but the fact that cryptocurrencies are pulling back, Mara pulled back with it. So that possible 13 break next time cryptocurrencies break looks pretty simple to me. Let's go to Riot. Riot's stuck in these ranges that absolutely doesn't excite me at all. So Mara looks a little bit more exciting than Riot, honestly. But Riot is also the $12 break could give you a move to 13, but the 13 break could give you a wall at 14, and the 14 break could give you a wall at 14.43. So I'm not really too excited over here unless it's to the downside. So I would love to short Riot at 10 or something under that. But right now we'll see how Riot plays out. The sentiment is obviously to the upside, and Mara just looks like a way more traded stock on the day. It is indeed 51 million shares traded on the average for Mara, and Riot's average 10-day volume is only 20 million shares. So compared to Mara, way easier to get in and get out and be wrong for way less of a slippage. That's what excites me. How many times can I be wrong and still be alive for the next trade that can completely make it all back for me, right? Because I keep my risk to reward so tight, or at least I try to. Fabian's heading out. Chat, say good night, Fabian, and we'll see him tomorrow. All right, what's the next stock we're looking at? I have a list over here that I'm going through. If anyone has any other stocks that you want me to take a look at, feel free to put it in the chat until I see some stocks in there. Let's go to the next stock on board, Snowflake. Snowflake with an absolute drop to the downside on day 1 of 4. I believe it is day 1 of 4. Let me just quickly go over to our trusty watch list. Yeah, day 1 of 4. AI conference in Las Vegas setting off, and looks like it wasn't really too much of a good conference to start for them. Maybe it was a sell the news kind of setting over here, obviously dropping to the downside drastically today, 4.5%. This could also just be the overall market just being weak and just bringing the whole, the whole sector, not sector, sorry, all tech baskets down in general. So that could be something that took place. Currently, I'm looking at this 165 area, ladies and gentlemen, to see what happens. If we push down to 165, I'm expecting to see some selling coming in so we can ride it to the downside a little bit more. But if the conference catalyst ends up being good, right, it's still 3 more days left for this conference that they're doing. If the conference catalyst suddenly ends up being something positive, then I might not be thinking that way anymore. Maybe we're looking for a possible dip buy around 165. The stock also is very choppy. It has a wide spread as far as I've known to be trading it. 7 million shares traded on $170 stock. If you compare that to Tesla, $240 stock trading 177 million shares. So the liquidity is just drastically different on Snowflake compared to Tesla. You can't really take too much size because you have to give the stock too much room to move around in, and your slippage also adds up on that trade. So you could easily get slipped 20, 30 cents on your stop over here on Snowflake. Hence, I'm not too excited to really get into a position over here. I think something that you can trade along with Snowflake, because they're trying to talk about AI and so on, is actually AI directly. AI today down 4.2%, also pushing back to that beautiful $30 area almost. If we do see 30 coming back into play, we'll look for possible dip by longs off that area. If that area comes in for a rejection, we'll see how we can ride it to the downside off of AI. I do think that we could see 22, 25 coming in on AI for possible dip buy tests, for buying pressure tests. If we were to add volume profile, visible range, 1 year. So for the last 1 year, the most volume traded on C3.ai is $22. Usually these levels act like a magnet. They could easily bring the stocks back to those levels. And according to that, NVIDIA could apparently go back down to $267. The stock is on our watch list. We'll come back to it. But I'm currently talking about AI. I mean, if we're talking about the longer time frame over here, ladies and gentlemen, I could see easily AI coming back into this previous demand zone, which acted as supply for a little bit, the previous demand zone, to see if there's more buyers there or not. We're currently testing previous supply zone to see if there's demand there, which is around $30 or not. Let's see if previous supply turns into demand, previous resistance turning into support, basic idea. Or do the orders open up and we see a bigger drop to the downside? Buyers are not there to punch in. Buyers much rather wait at $22 than punch in at 25, punch in at 30. So if that's the case, then you might just have to wait a little bit. But this sets up a good swing trade to the downside. Also a good day trade to the downside off that $30 area for those interested. We'll have to be careful and watch when that one ends up setting up. Let's go to the crude futures. That's not the crude futures, that's Colgate. Type 1 in the chat if you use Colgate to brush your teeth. Also, sponsor me, Colgate. That'll be great. Really glad Pratt is doing overtime. Are you? Are you really? I appreciate the love. Appreciate the love. More Pratt equals better? I don't know. We'll see. I just fear you guys might get tired of me. Don't get tired of me, guys. Okay. Crude futures is what we're talking about. Crude futures. Currently still, hanging out in this range at the moment. We do have lines mapped out from one of our last few shows that we did. I mean, you saw XOM and you saw CVX today. XOM up 1.85. CVX also up somewhere around that. Of course, I would type CXV. CVX also up 1.6. I think you can just wrap it up by looking at XLE in general. XLE up 1.8% today. I think that crude futures numbers might be after hour numbers, honestly, because we actually had a pretty good day on the overall sector over here on energy. Now, where are the trades that we can look for? I mean, if we look at XOM, I'm pretty sure we had some levels, not XOM, was it CVX? We had some levels that we looked for, which was this 149.90, basically 150 low. Came into play Friday, if you got long off the open and risked it off that low, that 150 low, you were already making a ton of money on the day today because instantly you were up $3 per share on that long, or $4 per share on that long. So monster move off that triple bottom coming into play on CVX. Do I see a move up to the north side if XLE and if crude futures keep trading the way they are, especially with the all the craziness that's happening in Russia, all the craziness that's happening in Russia. We could see more moves to the north side on the oil sector. So we just have to be careful. If you're short oil, if you're short Oxy, Oxy's another good stock that we actually look for levels. Same triple bottom coming in on Oxy that you're seeing on CVX. Did XLE have that triple bottom? Not really, but it has a little bit of a channel to the upside over here. That channel right there acting as a triple bottom, I guess, but it's not absolute flat bottom, triple bottom that you're seeing like we saw on CVX or on Oxy. So I do like these trades over here. They are moving to the north side. Let's look out for a 58 break maybe tomorrow on Oxy. Is that 58 right here? That is 58. So let's look for a 58 break tomorrow on Oxy for a possible extended move to the north side if there is any volume for us to take a look at. Prad, what time chart frames are you showing us? So I usually tell you what time chart frame I'm looking at. Also right here in the middle of the screen, you see what time frame it is. It says in the watermark 1 day. Each candle is 1 day. And when I click on 1 year, everything that you see on the chart is a year's worth of candles, 52 weeks basically worth of candles. But yeah, every time I click on a chart, you see exactly the time frame coming up right in the middle. Right in the middle. Thanks to Sean for bringing Pratty back. Honestly, thanks to Brendan for bringing Pratty back. But yes, Sean was part of it too. Thank you to Neil also for bringing me back. We are currently looking at the Oxy sector, or sorry, oil sector, Oxy sector. Might as well call it the Oxy sector with Papa Buffett buying the crap out of Oxy every day. Might as well call it Oxy sector. But no, the oil sector has been hot. We are going to be watching it. The next stock on board I have over here, ladies and gentlemen, is IBM. IBM came out with some sort of a catalyst today. Oh yeah, about a company that they acquired, so they could now go into the cloud space. So I'm trying to find the article for you guys. Here it is. IBM's effort to reshape itself into a larger cloud company accelerate with the buyout of Apptio. So coming in with the buyout, $4.6 billion acquisition for IBM, helped them out to really launch to the upside and kind of play with these ranges a little bit. So I'm excited over here. Anytime IBM has good catalyst, it usually gives you a straight direction trade, and that's exactly what you saw today. So here's the open, and you saw nothing but just pop, 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 right? A little bit of profit taking drop and then a pop, profit taking drop and then a pop. Let's quickly add VWAP over here. Not sure why VWAP is not on. There we go. VWAP should be on. That's the ugliest VWAP I've ever seen. What the heck is that? There we go. Style. Let's go red. Red. Okay, there we go. So VWAP. So pops up, comes back down, tests VWAP, pops back up, comes back down, tests VWAP, pops back up, and almost makes a new high a day in the after hours over here. So IBM, International Business Machines, could be in play tomorrow. I'm looking for longs on this side over here. Let's see if those trades can actually set us up for some possible moves. We closed at 130, 134. I'm looking at this level to break, 132.50. If we can get above 132.50, 133, I think we have some room to the upside. But these areas could just act as a barrier tomorrow. So we'll just have to wait and see if buying does come in around this 133 to 132.50 area, or does selling show up all of a sudden, at which point we have to say, no thank you, I'm out, peace out, we'll come back later. I see some people in the chat talking about CCL and RCL. So why don't we go to the chart and talk about said stocks. RCL, I'm just going to take a sip of my water here, chat. Good old agua, nothing beats it. All right. RCL had had a sympathy trade to the downside today for the most part. It shows a green candle. That's just how TradingView calculates the candles over here. But for the most part, had a red day. Did recover most of its gains back. It's just a sympathy trade off of CCL, which had an earnings move right off in pre-market. Earnings move coming in, destroying itself. There was some size that came in on the ask later on, sorry, on the bid later on CCL. At which point I said, if this stock takes out that size, I'm going short. That gave you an instant short to the downside, a monster short to the downside on CCL, 1420 to the downside, which gave you a nice little pop up, and then later on, even bigger move right below 14 coming in on CCL. We actually traded a lot of this on the show. If you were watching this on the midday, during the close show, and on the opening show, I believe they also traded CCL a little bit. So hopefully you guys were able to catch some profits along with us on this stock. I think my number one stock on the day was CCL. So I'm very interested to see how this one sets up for tomorrow. We have levels already to trade off of. So look at these levels right here. A recent gap up was created to the north side based on all the positive news, all the upgrades, who even upgraded them? I think it was JP Morgan, right? I believe JP Morgan or Morgan Stanley came out and said, we are very bullish about these travel sector stocks, and all of them popped up. You even saw airline stocks pop up. And now you're seeing the opposite of it, where they just, spoofing the market with false news so people would buy this position up so that way they could sell into them. I don't even know how to say it. Maybe they just got it wrong, right? That's possible. They're humans. They're not AIs. They are human. So it is possible for them to get it wrong also. Overall, the idea is, how can we profit on this tomorrow? What are the trade setups showing up over here? I think that 14 break is once again looking pretty clean. Right? If we do break 14, I could easily see the stock dropping back to $13 or even more to the downside over here. We do have a pop over here for the gap closed. The gap officially closes at $13.39, but I think the stock could drop down to $13 on a break of 14 tomorrow. Keep in mind the stock will be on SSR day 2, which means you cannot short the stock by taking out the liquidity on the bids. You have to wait on the ask for the stock to go higher. Then only can you take your short fills on said position. People talking about AMD in the chat. We already talked about AMD. I'll show you again. My AMD setup at this moment is just basically look for the longs anywhere from in these ranges. If 103 comes into play, I'm looking for that long. We're currently at the 50-period EMA on the one-day chart, looking like some buying might be coming in around these areas, 107, 108, 109's area. But if 103 shows up, I'm looking for that long. Even at the 100 area, I'm looking for the long on AMD. The semiconductor ETF was pretty insanely strong today to start the day, but then sadly the market reversal absolutely destroying the whole ETF itself, which still ended up positive honestly, so I can't even say destroying it, taking away most of its gains, but still up 0.32% on the day. I don't even know what semiconductor stock was positive on the day, so let's go see that. Nvidia down 3.74%, AMD down 2.2%, ON probably down, ON actually up 1.2%. Let's go check out Marvell, down 0.12%. Intel possibly green. Intel up 1.3%. There you go. 1.03%, sorry, up on the day, Intel. So there is a big tech semiconductor stock that held up the game for these guys a little bit. Congratulations, semiconductors. Even when the day is red, you guys are positive. Shout out to Nos Boss, actually. He might not be in the chat, but he recently was calling out the semiconductor ETF long on his Twitter streams that he posts. He posts these little snippets on Twitter and on Instagram. Go check them out. Also use code TraderTV20 to get 20% off on trade ideas on your new or next subscription that you sign up for on trade ideas. As you guys can see, everyone over here at the floor uses trade ideas to find stocks that are moving around. MLTX moving around again? No, not really. There's no volume in MLTX, but that stock was active. We do have that one on the watch list. We'll talk about that very soon over here. We're just going to quickly wrap up semiconductor sector. We also did travel sector, RCL and CCL, just not too long ago. So let's head over to PACW and Friends. KRE, XLF, PACDubskis. PagDubs and friends were up 1.26% today as an overall ETF. That's going to be our KRE, or regional S&P 500 bank ETF, up 1.2% on the positive news that PagW got about $3.6 billion of funding through a company called Ares Management, but it actually comes from Barclays. So who does it really come from? Who does it really come from? Comes from Barclays for me. That's how I view it, right? For me, Ares is a middleman. Ares means nothing to me. It's Barclays partnering with PagDub, and they are funding them $3.2 billion over here. Hopefully that saves them. We'll see how it ends up working out for PagDub. I know Ares ends up making a little bit of money here and there, managing, being the middleman, being the broker. But for me, it's all about who am I going to short if this deal doesn't work out? It's going to be PagW, but it's also going to be Barclays. Barclays Bank, that is, for anyone's interested. So KRE over here had an okay day. Not too much of a big day, had an okay day. I tried some longs on PagDubskis, didn't work out. We tried to break $8. I got trapped on the break of 8 over here, and then we pulled back. I had to basically close the stock for a loser today. We did get that move later on, which I wanted. That was the move right here, and that would have helped me break even. That's all I wanted to do, break even on the trade and walk away, because I didn't take my signal to get out, which was on the fall back through 8. I was dreaming. So at the end, this was the move that I was looking for, the move back to VWAP. But I stuck to my rules, and I took that loss and I walked away. But tomorrow, what are the trades on PagDubskis that set up for us are the questions over here. We have this level. Looks like we're nowhere close to that yet. That's going to be the $9 level. We all know the $9 level, right? You don't need to put that one there. We already have the volume profile here at 650, so I'm going to leave that 650 line hanging around. I think we just might have to wait for the next $8 break, proper $8 break for a run up to 9, or a proper $9 break for a run up to these levels over here above 9, which are $10, $11, $12 ranges or so on. So I think we just have to be a little patient for PagW. I mean, the stock is still very, very volatile. Anything could happen, especially with this interest rates, possible interest rate hikes with 2 more being planned. It's still scary for regional banks. So I'd be careful if I was you, ladies and gentlemen. Let's head over to MTLX. Right, MTLX, low float stock. MLTX, low float stock. That's the move today that it had from here to the downside, and then closing around 45.95 area. This is the chart on it. Recent IPO. Let's go show you the flow on Trade Ideas. Oh, that's the wrong button. Let's open this one, Brad. Awesome. MLTX. Flow is 33 million shares. Not too much of a large float, but okay flow. Short float of 27 million shares coming in. Cash on hand is 63 million. And the current debt on hand is $246,000. So not too much debt. They have okay cash. Popping up absolutely without any catalyst as far as I know. But let's see if we can actually see something. Immunotherapeutics announced a proposed underwritten public offering. So public offering coming in, pushing the stock to the upside, but giving up a little bit of the gains off the open and then popping back to the north side. Maybe there are some possible levels over here for us to trade tomorrow. The after hour move is very muted. I'm not seeing anything happen in the after hours, but look at this move in the pre-market around 8 o'clock. The stock went from $40, sorry, correct me, $30 up to $106 in the pre-market today. That's insane. So if this is the type of moves that this stock could do, then obviously I'm very interested to have this on my watch list. We'll see if this one brings in some volume tomorrow for a possible breakout of any of these even dollar levels, or even any halt level. If any halt level breaks, I'm interested on the long, because this stock could absolutely go monster. This will be that next possible DWAC type of trade. So we'll see if that ends up being that way. I hear someone laughing in the back. I don't even know who it is. Oh, it's probably Obi. What's up, Obi? Obi over there charting his 1,340th line on Amazon that he drew just on today. Just on today, not like from the history, just on today. I'll stop throwing shade on Obi. I actually love the boy. He's amazing. All right, let's go to the last few things over here, ladies and gentlemen, that I have to look at before I'm going to wrap off, which is going to be the overall market. Let's go take a look at the NASDAQ sector. The NASDAQ sector has been obviously very, very damaged today, to put up, for lack of a better word, hurt, damaged, depressing, upsetting. Right? The sector has been absolutely beat up. 15K not able to hold on the sector. We've seen that level, be a barrier. Now that level coming in as a, not even as a support. Going down, my next level to expect on the NASDAQ market will be 14,700. Let's see if 14,700 can come in over the span of tomorrow. Or is it going to come in over the span of the next few days, going into the week to wrap the week red? This last week was the first official red week on the market. If we go to this chart, that's monthly chart. This is a weekly chart. Here you go. The first official red week on the chart for the NASDAQ market with 8 straight green weeks. So we could at least expect 2 red weeks, 3 red weeks. If we get 3 red weeks, maybe we go back down to this number of 14,300. If we get 2 red weeks, maybe we drop down to this 14,600, 700 areas, right? Keep in mind the VIX is at $14. This is your VIX currently. No volatility in the market. You are a day trader. Maybe you're a swing trader. Maybe you're a long-term investor. But we are day traders here, and day traders need volatility to make that crazy amounts of money, right? They need volatility to make that crazy amounts of money. You need markets to be moving. I mean, how much of a range has the SPY been on all day today? Let's go take a look at the range on the SPY today, 43.68 to 44.03. That's the range on the SPY today, right? Not exciting, not something to really scream about. Markets are getting a little scary again, I'll be honest, right? They're getting ready to maybe look like the time period where my friends and coworkers used to complain about how the market was dead and boring. This was right around 2018, 2019. I joined the floor at the end of 2019, going into 2020 where the markets got hot. And some of my friends on the floor over here, they used to complain about the 2018, 2019 markets. If we go back to those markets, it's going to suck. So let's hope that the summer that's coming up doesn't dry up the market, that it doesn't get hot girl summer hot and dry up the stock market for us. Let's hope that the volume keeps on pouring up. People in the chat actually saying that Lucid is creeping up. So let's go check out Lucid in the after hours over here. Lucid in the after hours, I mean, it's a 3 to 10 cent pop. I'm not that worried about a 10 cent pop in the after hours. We'll worry about it when $6 comes back into play. Yeah, it's up 1.4% in the after hours, but it's 10 cents, guys. It's 10 cents, right? That's not too exciting when you look at the whole day's range for the stock when it's $1. So we'll have to wait a little patiently. I know the percentage is a little exciting because the stock is such a low dollar stock that such a small price could excite the move for it. I'll get excited when we get back to 6 or above 6. I'll do that. Coming off of Lucid and back to S&P 500 and NASDAQ, the markets are very muted right now in terms of how much they're really moving around. I could see the S&P 500 going back to somewhere around these lows right here, or even if these lows come into play, even better. Because I'm a bear, I'm trying to short it. So I'm a bear. We'll see what happens if those levels come into play on the SPY and on S&P 500. Will you play Tesla into the gap? I will be playing Tesla into the gap for sure. That gap to the downside, the break of 240 for a ride down to 235, a ride down to 230 looks very, very interesting. I will be looking forward to that trade. Hopefully it happens off the open, but even if it happens during the midday, we will trade it like we did today. We took the lower day break on Tesla at 250. The first time it burnt us, and the second time it paid us. And it paid us wonderfully. So right here, was it 250? well, where is it? 250 was right here. Yeah, there you go. The first time it burnt us, the second time it paid us. I mean, the stock ended up being a $10 per share winner if you actually held the trade. Monstrous, monstrous. You got to love that. Monster trades. Now, let's quickly head over to the last few things that I like to do for these streams, which is taking a look at a couple of things over here. Let's refresh this. Let's see what kind of stocks moved around. BKMC moved around with 3.9 million shares. Okay. No real change, though. What even is BKMC? What the heck is this? The New York ARCA position does no volume. How much volume does the stock do? Apparently 3.9 million shares, but I don't see it moving at all. $82 stock. I don't know what the heck is going on in this position. This is kind of crazy. Okay. MULN, we're not looking at that chat. SPY, QQQ, QQQM. What is that? I'm seeing a lot of new tickers that I've never seen. QQQM. Invesco NASDAQ 100 ETF. Isn't that just QQQ? I guess it's the lower price QQQ ETF because QQQ is like $300. QQQM is a lower price ETF. Is it like a 3 times leverage ETF? No, not even. It's just a lower price ETF with a lot less volume coming into play. 2.4 million shares traded on that one compared to 52 million shares traded directly on the QQQs. RSLS popping in. Is there any catalyst for it? Okay, a little bit of a catalyst. 36% up with 1.4 million shares traded. That one looks interesting, actually. Okay, we found a play here, ladies and gentlemen. We might just have found a play here for the squeeze game to the north side. The high over here at $4. After hours, we're at $3.90. Oh, okay. The 3 break tomorrow could be something to look out for. The 3 break could take the stock up to $4 or so. If we were to go here, that's where we popped up to after hours. We could see this $3.36, $3.50, $4 coming into play if this catalyst has any substance behind it. If there's any volume in the pre-market tomorrow, RSLS looks very interesting to me. So we'll put that on the watch list over here to keep an eye out for. XLE, we already have that on our watch list. NRG just moved in the close. Nothing really other than that I see. Meds, that stock went crazy today. APLD has been going a little bit crazy recently. 3 more days until we have some IPOs on the table. So we'll talk about this IPOs closer to the June 29th. I think that's a Thursday. So we'll talk closer to that day. But we have 3 new IPOs coming out on June 29th, which we'll see how fun they end up being. Earnings calendar is still kind of dead, I believe so nothing happening there. The most active stocks on the day, we talked about most of them. Pfizer is the only one we didn't really talk about. NVIDIA, AMD, CCL, Lucid, Tesla, your top 5 stocks on the day today. Tesla has been the top 5 stock every single day. MOTX and a bunch of other random stocks. LUMN, a couple of you in the chat traded LUMN, I know that. And then the down stocks, I don't really recognize any of these down stocks because everyone was more busy with your large cap down stocks for the most part. I mean, the volume on these down stocks isn't that great either, right? Most of them are small caps with very light volume, not really moving around. And that's just how it ends up being for some of these small cap stocks. Whew, that was a mouthful. That was a mouthful. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that was pretty much everything I wanted to talk about for you guys today. That wraps up this segment for June 26th after the close segment. If you guys enjoyed it, please be sure to hit the like button. Please share it with your friends. Good night, Sean. See you Tuesday tomorrow. If you did enjoy it, please share it with your friends and your family. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. We will be back tomorrow, 8:30 sharp in the morning. Lots of things happening. There is one thing I did forget, so we will not wrap up just yet. So hold up, hold your horses, Prad. We forgot to show you the economic calendar. So the economic calendar for tomorrow, we got 8 o'clock building permits. Obviously, we will not be live at 8 o'clock. We will be in at 8:30 when core durable good orders come in at 8:30. And then is there any of the 3-star numbers? We got new sale homes coming out at 10. That could move Home Depot. That could take Home Depot above or below that level that we were looking for at this 310, 308 area. So that home sales, let's see how that one ends up moving. Maybe insurance companies move on existing home sales or new home sales, possible. I don't know. We'll see. I'm just saying Home Depot because Home Depot sells like a lot of this products to home builders, but more likely home builders to move off of new home sales than Home Depot. That's just an idea. I've seen the stock move before on that number. It's not a bad idea to have it on the list, to watch list. So these are all the important numbers coming out tomorrow. Stay tuned for it. Going back to my single face, we will be back tomorrow, 8:30 sharp. Sean, Neil, Brendo will be covering the market for you. I will be on maybe 11, if not 12, and then back again at 4 o'clock. For those of you who missed out already, if we don't get enough views for the podcast episode, we might have to cancel it, right? So go watch it. If you haven't watched the Sean's podcast episode that we did, I enjoyed it. We had a lot of fun. Show us that you had a lot of fun by hitting the like button on that video. The next one, most likely this Friday. Who's the guest? We don't know yet. It's probably Randy. We do know that. But we'll see if any other guests will be joining us. Will be a lot of fun. So ladies and gentlemen, good night. Take care. See you tomorrow. Peace.